Hello and welcome, my name is Daniel Rhodes, and today in this video we will be taking a look at a preview of a white box level I have created for a university project. So to start off with, we are greeted with a very basic menu, with 4 separate buttons and a logo for my game, Extraction in 10. I must also state that the background I am using for this menu is not my own and can be found at this link. When you hover over each of these buttons with the mouse, they start to glow, to show that they have some sort of interaction associated with them. Let's take a look at the story I have envisioned for this game. Right, so now we have more of an idea of the purpose of this game, let's take a quick look at the options I currently have implemented. Here you can see the only options are relating to the sounds in the game. There is a master mute button that affects everything, but also sliders for things like sound effects and music. Now let's start the game. The player is dropped into a linear style level with a very basic HUD that shows the player what they can use and a countdown timer showing how long they have until extraction is failed. There are hints to help guide the player. For example, throughout the level every door has a different colour light associated with it. This door is locked, so the player must look around the room to see whether there is a way to open it. Objects throughout the level will use the E key to interact, and this gives a sense of connection to the controls throughout the level. Now with the door open, the player is met with fire. Of course the player wants to test whether this fire is just for aesthetics or can actually kill them. Upon death, the player is greeted with a death screen that uses the same style as all the other menus in the game, and is given 3 different options. Here we are going to restart. This drops the player back at the very start of the level where everything they have just done has reset, but with the knowledge from their first try they will think differently this time. As you can see, this time the player has noticed a box on the floor that can be interacted with. Pressing E gives the player a fire extinguisher that they can use to put out the flames. This is shown through the new icon appearing in the HUD at the top left of the screen. In this room, the player is placed into a jumping puzzle, but in order to complete it they must use their physics gun to move a block so they can climb upon a generator. The player is given a choice as to which one they want to use to get up. This changes up the gameplay slightly, but will ultimately reach the same outcome. Now that the player is on top of the generator, they are told that if they shoot the glass in front of them, it will break. From feedback in testing, I have also added a despawn timer to this fracture mesh. That way it helps with any collision issues that could have occurred. Upon progressing down the corridor, the player reaches a dead end, but another open door to their right. This room is the station's armoury, and it has some C4 explosives on the shelf that the player can interact with and pick up. This can then be used on either side of the locked door, and then an explosion effect will be played to help show off the destructive power of this pickup. Later in production I will add a timer to this, and make the player move away from the blast as it goes off. If not, they will die. Now the player is greeted with another barrier, but by simply interacting with the button in front of them, they can get the conveyor belt to move, giving them a path forward. Next, AI is used to achieve the same outcome as before, because the button is on the other side. By pressing Q, the player can order the NPC to do things. After completion, the player gets an optional choice, either to get the NPC to follow them and complete the level together, or just to leave them there. Again, the player's path is blocked by an obstacle, but the player can use the crane to their advantage. Upon reaching the crane's control panel, the fence is lowered to help show which way the container needs to be moved, and remove any sort of collision errors that could be occurred by the container moving. The player can then simply use the control stated on the control box to move this container and clear a path. Once this is complete, the player can then progress, and the fence is raised again to make sure the player stays on the correct path. There is another optional NPC that can be ordered again using the same key as before. Using the same key for similar interactions means that the player should know what they need to do to impact gameplay. Interacting with the red button opens the hangar doors and shows the player their last objective. Upon opening these doors, the gravity in the room has been lost, so the player can have a bit of fun in low gravity before finishing the level. Again, I would like to state that this is a prototype of part of a white box level, so upon completion it would look nothing like this, and is designed only to show off some of the mechanics. Thanks for watching this video.